We are Jet Sports Training, where our mission is to cultivate champions. This is where athletes come to get faster and everyday people come to change their lives. This is not a gym, but a community. Come get jetted.
Take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lot of y'all doubted on me. Now they like, wow, look how far you come. Legendary like all my idols, coming for it all, and I can't wait. Success just called and I got me a date. So I grab my ambitions and I'm on my way. Cross the wrong line and it's bad news. Might get burnt like a candle. We too hot to handle. World at my feet like a sandal. I only move when I plan to. Your moves could get canceled.
Hey guys, I gotta tell you about one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu places out there, Nogales Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Make sure you go check them out if you're down in Nogales and say what's up to my homie Andy Behrens.
If you're tired of feeling like a rusty tin can, call Mueve Flex today. We will have you saying hello, sunshine, to your newfound flexibility. Let's get moving and grooving. Call 377-2225 and we'll get you on our schedule with Mueve Flex Assisted Stretch Therapy.
What's up, guys? We're back with another episode with the Superintendent at Sunnyside School District, Mr. Gastélum. How's the first couple days going, brother?
It's going well. We launched yesterday. We had our first day of school, and we survived it without any serious bumps there in the road. But we're off to a good start. We're just excited for another school year.
Yeah. What's really cool about you, brother, is you started at Sunnyside High School. Talk about a little bit when you were younger, walking through those hallways at Sunnyside High School.
Absolutely. I'm a proud Blue Devil. I'm a proud, product of the Southside community.
We'll let that one go, not the trombone, even though I'm Tucson High.
Yeah, right. So I gotta fight with the Badgers here today, but yeah, I'm just so proud to serve a community that served me for so many years, and going back to your question, what is it like to lead a community, that really gave me opportunities? I mean, it's been a blessing. I just had some great mentors. I was just a regular kid on the South Side that grew up and just got involved in sports, surrounded myself with good people, and had some amazing coaches along the way, amazing teachers that guided me in the right direction. And so, I owe it a lot to getting involved in athletics. I think you learn a lot from athletics.
That's perfect. That was my second question. You played football and baseball. What do those sports teach you on the field and also off the field, becoming a leader in the community?
Yeah, I think, I've always, of course I'm biased because I love sports, but I do believe that sports teaches you a lot of discipline, teaches you leadership skills. I prided myself in playing those positions that were leadership based. In baseball I was a catcher, so, kind of like, you're the general on the field. And I don't look like a quarterback anymore, but I was a quarterback in high school.
Coach just sling it a little bit.
That's right, man. So I played those positions, those leadership positions, and sports teaches you discipline, teaches you how to be a team player. You got to show up to practices on time, teaches you work ethic. And we know if you want to get good at something, you need repetition, right? Yeah, you need to do it over and over and do it well. So I owe it a lot to sports. So I have a deep respect for our student athletes that put in the work and have, had a taste of success.
Yeah. With sports in high school, you get that lettersman jacket. You started,
Absolutely.
You started the kickoff this year wearing that. What was the
Yeah.
message behind that?
Well, we have this little joke. This is my 4th year as a superintendent, so I keep telling people this is my senior year, right?
Oh,
and
shoot,
so,
nice.
so somebody, brought up the idea, hey, you should come out in your Letterman jacket. So a few days ago, we had our opening kickoff where all our employees, about 2,000 employees, gather in the Sunnyside High School gym. And, we set the tone for the year. We get people excited about serving students and we want to have a great year, and we want the student experience to be awesome. So they convinced me to come out. They announced me, and I came out in my Letterman jacket. I was just happy I was able to get it on. After 33 years, I mean, it was challenge to get it on, but we got it on. I wasn't going to try to button it, but just a lot of fun. No, absolutely not, absolutely not. We'd probably lost some eyes in the crowd there if I would have buttoned it, but it was just all in fun, and of course we have 3 great high schools: Sunnyside, Desert View, and Star Academic High School, and so we happen to do there. But I'm a proud Blue Devil, but also I was a proud Jaguar when I was principal there as well. I served principal for about 10 years there at Desert View, so that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, the really cool thing about you've traveled up the ladder to get to your position. You started teaching in 1997. Why was it teaching the direction you wanted to go to?
Well, I owe it to my old high school principal, Mr. Raul Unido.
We got the same name, so he must be a cool guy.
Right? Raul, it's a cool name, cool guys. Raul Unido, he actually grew up in the town in Sarik, Sonora with my grandparents out there, and I didn't realize that till I got to high school, but he always challenged me. He says, hey, get your degree. I didn't know if college was in the picture for me. I was just going to school. I'm a first-generation college grad, first-generation high school grad. And so, he saw something special in me and made me believe in myself and said, go get your degree and then come teach for me. Because I knew I wanted to coach, right? And so if you want to coach, it's only better if you get to work on campus with your athletes as a teacher.
When you're a coach, you're a teacher as well.
Absolutely.
One of my dad's best friends, Jeff Duncan Adrada, always says he has a whole book on that. It's like the best teachers are the best coaches.
Yeah, and I believe that as well. I think sometimes your best leaders are your best, we're former coaches. And so they understand how to get people to reach their full potential. They understand it takes work ethic. They're planners for the most part. And, they've most of these people have won all their life, right? They win.
Yeah. Hey, coaches that win a lot stay a long time coaching.
That's right.
You talked about being the first to graduate college, first graduate high school. It was growing up.
Yeah, so I come from humble beginnings. My parents were hardworking people. My dad was a construction worker, and thank God I still got him in my life. And my mother passed away at a young age of 51 years old, but she got to see me graduate from college and play high school sports. And so they were just hardworking people. I grew up on Calle Garcia right there, right off of Missiondale and Bilby right there, and went to Mission Manor, went to Chaparral, and now it's Gallego Intermediate, and graduated from Sunnyside High School in 1992. So, I have 2 sisters, Elizabeth, my younger sister, who's a teacher at Gallego Primary. Little shout out to her, and my older sister, Laura Cáceres, who was a Sunnyside grad as well. And so, our parents, we didn't come from a lot of money or anything like that, but, our parents never made us feel like we were poor either. They provided us with what we needed, and they taught us work ethic, and thank God we've all been successful, and we're trying to pass that on to our kids as well.
Yeah, always trying to give back to the community in whatever we do, and whatever we get, always try to give back. That's what I've learned.
Absolutely.
You gave back a lot as a teacher, but ultimately you knew you had to take some steps up. What went into that decision, leaving teaching for more of a leadership role in the district?
Yeah, I was. I started teaching at Sunnyside High School. Mr. Needle kept his word, and right out of college, I went to go see him, and he gave me a job there as a Spanish teacher. And so I got into coaching. Coach Richard Sanchez, legendary coach, says, hey, you need to coach.
We're trying hard to get him on one of these shows as well, man. He came back to talk about some of the coaches at Jet, and God, that dude's just he has so much knowledge with him.
He does. He has a lot of experiences, and he's impacted a lot of lives, in a good way. And so he's definitely one of my mentors, and I learned a lot of work ethic from him. And I think coming back, as a player, I learned a lot from him, but coming back as an adult learner, right, as a teacher, just learned work ethic, learned about, he used to have this saying about, hey, you get out of it what you put into it.
Absolutely.
And I use that every day in life, right? You're going to get out of it what you put into it, and you put a lot into it, you get a lot out of it. You put very little into it, well, that's your result, right? Very little. And so, I was blessed to have people like that in my life. And so, I got into teaching, and then did that for about 7 years. And I always wanted to do law enforcement, so I left for about a little over a year.
Oh, to become a cop?
Yeah, I was a federal agent for a little over a year, and it just wasn't for me. I missed being around kids. I missed the satisfaction of seeing kids succeed, working with the community. And so I came back, and I came back and worked in the middle schools for a little bit. Worked at Apollo a year. Worked at Challenger. I got my master's degree in ed leadership, and my first gig was an assistant principal at Challenger Middle School.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went on to be an assistant principal at Desiree High School, and then became principal, I believe, in 2012. And so did that. And then...
Let me pause you right there.
Go ahead.
I want to know this. What were the challenges that you faced from being a teacher now to being an assistant principal? Because you're responsible for about, at least from Tucson, from what I know, you're responsible for 140 kids when you're a teacher. Mm-hmm. When you become the principal, you're responsible for everyone.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges you faced with that?
Well, I've always said this. I mean, it's definitely a hard job to be a teacher, right? I mean, you're responsible for a lot of kids, and you're trying to get them all going in the same direction. And I think when I was an assistant principal, I kept telling myself, like, being a principal can't be that much more.
Yeah.
But it is. When you're a principal, it's a lot more. And I truly believe the hardest job in education is being a high school principal, because in our district, at the time I was running a school with about a little over 2,000 students. You got over 200 employees. It's like you're open 24/7. You got activities going on, sports going on. And it just there's never a dull moment. You're on. It's a fast pace.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I always took my responsibility serious. As an adult, and I wanted to make sure. For me, it's all about the student experience for kids. Exposing them to opportunities, and hopefully that they take advantage of those opportunities that come their way.
Yeah. So when you first got to your first spot of being a principal, what were the things you changed going in to make sure what you talked about, having opportunities, having more opportunities to grow, were there for these kids? Yeah,
that's a great question. I mean, as you can imagine, I went to Desiree High School and was a Blue Devil my whole life, and so I was getting the traitor. Man, I got knocked down, beat up, chewed up, spit out. I mean,
you want to hear a really bad story real quick? So my dad, he was a principal at Pueblo for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill me for putting this on air right now. So one morning, he drops me off from school, and he kind of heard the radio like, "Good morning, Badgers." So he goes to Pueblo to make his announcement. His first thing was saying was, "Good morning, Badgers."
Oh, man. He made that mistake, huh?
Oh, they never heard the end of that one.
Oh, I bet they ate him up. Yeah, so question. I took a lot of pride in making sure that Desert View wasn't, and this may not come out appropriately, but it wasn't the stepchild. I think every district has their flagship high school. In TUSD, it's Tucson High. In Sunnyside, it's Sunnyside High School. And so I took a lot of pride in making sure that it wasn't treated that way. It wasn't going to be the stepchild. And so we definitely took a lot of pride in creating a college-going culture there. And so my proudest moments as an educator is raising graduation rates at Desiree High School and outperforming a lot of other high schools. And for a time, they're outperforming Sunnyside High School, and academically and with graduation rates. And I'll give you an example. When I got there, the graduation rates were in the 70s, and that wasn't good enough, right?
Yeah.
We were not doing right by our students and kids and families.
What do you think was the reason for that? What do you think was really going on at that time? And I know there's some stuff you can talk about, some stuff you can't talk about. But if you give the community of how the change actually happened from the beginning to the start.
It's it's all about mindset, right? I mean, I think it's how you set the bar. I mean, if you set the bar at a low level, well, that's where they're going to reach it. If you set it at a very high level, kids are going to meet you there and teachers are going to meet you there. But it was really a transformation of getting people to believe in our kids, right? Yeah. That our kids could compete, that our kids do belong in college. I mean, a lot of us minorities, a lot of us that grow up in not so affluent communities, in low income communities, we have this thing called imposter syndrome, right? Where we don't sometimes believe we belong. Sometimes we don't believe we deserve the credit. And we do. Our kids belong there. And so at Desert View, we went from like graduation rates in the 70s to high as 89%, you know, and those were my proudest moments because our kids were getting these prestigious scholarships, Gates Millennium Scholars, Dorrance Scholars, Flynn Scholars. I mean, just amazing accomplishments. And so what happens is when you have success and the siblings, their younger kids or their younger brothers and sisters want to come. The families realize, hey, Desert View is a good school. Sunnyside's a good school. I'm going to send them there. And
knocking down the glass door.
That's it. And so it's really setting tones. And I hate to talk about myself, but, I always use the example of, hey, I grew up in the same community you guys did. I never thought I would be at where I'm at today, but it's hard work. It's making good decisions. And again, imposter syndrome. Sometimes I say, I've just been in the right place at the right time, but I got to give myself more credit, right? I mean, I've made good decisions and put myself in the right place at the right time because of the work I'm doing, right? And so again, not tooting my own horn, but to me, this community, the Sunnyside community, I mean, I love it. It's all I know. I've been there my whole life. It's home, and I want our kids and families to compete with the very best.
Yeah. So you do that. You have an amazing time at Desert View High School. What starts happening now, becoming the superintendent of Sunnyside School District? Yeah,
so I was at Desert View, and Steve Holmes, the superintendent at the time.
Hey, shout out Steve Holmes, by the way.
So to Mr. Holmes, a little shout out there. He took over at a time in the district where, things were a little rocky. There was some trust loss from prior leadership, and he just did an amazing job of earning back some of that trust, in the community. And so, he says, hey, are you ready? I need you to come be director of high school. So I did that for a couple of years. Then I became an assistant superintendent of student services. And in 2022, he dropped the news on us that he was going to be leaving. Yeah. And he kept saying, hey, get ready. And, I was happy just being his right-hand man and supporting him any way I could. And that's when it happened. I became superintendent in 2022. And again, nothing that it wasn't something I was aspiring to do. It felt right. It was, right time. As I said earlier, I was at the right time, right place, and I had a lot of support, and so, we all saw, what happened when somebody from the outside of the community led the district, and there was good things and bad things, right? And so we just wanted to keep that momentum going forward, and we have. I proudly say that, and I don't take all the credit myself. I mean, I give credit to our families, our students, our employees, our teachers and educators, and knock on wood, but we've had some pretty good years. We've been able to give our teachers increases the last 3 years,
which is huge because they deserve so much more. Because we always say it's an 8 to 5 job, 8 to 3 job, but no, those teachers are good teachers with their students whenever they need them.
Yeah, they work around the clock, right? I mean, they work around the clock, and they're everything for our students. When you talk about being counselors, being role models, being teachers, coaches, I mean, they do it all for our students. And so shout out to our Sunnyside educators and support staff. I mean, they're amazing people. And so, that's what it's about. It's about taking care of your own. And in 2023, we passed an override, which was super exciting.
2 of them, correct?
We did. It was a M&O override. It was Proposition 498 in 2023, and then Proposition 499, which was an M&O override. And we asked for the minimum because we were just trying to pass one. We hadn't passed one in 16 years, and I hope a big thank you to our voters, our community, our taxpayers. I hope they're seeing the changes. We really worked hard on curbside appeal with our schools, and so it's getting them the facilities up to par, and really being able to give increases to our staff. All our employees have had increases the last 3 years, and like you said, it's not enough, but it's something. We're not in a position, thankfully, that we're having to cut people. We're having to cut positions.
It's going in the right direction. That's all that matters.
It is. It's on the right trajectory. And speaking of, overrides. I mean, we're going for a bond this year.
Yeah, it was another one coming up.
Yeah, it's November. It's a mail-in ballot. It's Proposition 416. And again, this is all for capital needs. You know, we had a third-party company, some experts come in and do a needs assessment of our 21 school sites. And there's some major repairs that need to be done. You know, I mean, our schools, the average age of our 21 schools is 39 years old, and Sunnyside High School is going to be 70 years old this year. And so we need to bring them up to par, and some of them need upgrades. And so right now, you know, people always want to know. It's never a good time, right? I mean, it's hard to ask people to pay a little bit more taxes, and it's never a good time. But I mean, I truly believe in any community you live in, and the way that Arizona funds public schools, it's, you know, they're ranked at the very bottom, you know, 48th, 49th, and unfortunately, since we don't get the appropriate funding, we got to go ask our community to help us out. And so, you know, it'll cost taxpayers about $4 and change. I mean, that was the new information we just received a couple days ago. You know, I joke and say it's like a trip to Starbucks, right? It's a coffee that you got to sacrifice a month, and it's going to run about $40 to $50 a year, you know, for the taxpayers. But you know, we over many years we'll get $120 million. We'll do a major renovation of Sunnyside High School, which is needed. You know, I mean, some of those classrooms look exactly the same from when I went to school, when some of our relatives went to school. You know, some of our grandparents went to school, and so it needs a major facelift. And I want kids to feel good about coming to school. You know, that they have modern classrooms and modern buildings. And don't get me wrong, we've done a lot of good work. We remodeled. You know, it's got good bones, as they say. The auditorium looks great. I mean, we just redid the auditorium. We just redid the gym. We redid the football field. But our classrooms need to be torn apart and gutted and redone. And so we're looking at doing some, if successful, we want like a 2-story building with all our classrooms. And you know, we want our kids to feel good. You know, they go to these brand new high schools around town, and they're in awe. You know, they go over there for an activity, a sport, and they're like, oh my God, this is beautiful facility, right? And so we want our kids to feel the same way, and there'll be plenty of money to make sure every school is taken care of, you know. And so I don't want to put it out there like we're just going to take care of Sunnyside High School, but it's probably has the biggest need, but we're going to take care of all our schools
for the community. And I think that's such a huge thing. People need to realize, you know, this is for the students.
Absolutely.
This is for the teachers, the people who are creating the next generation. That's at the end of the day, we need to realize we're a community, and we need to help out the people that need it most.
Yeah, and so, you know, I always tell people, school's going to be open tomorrow, whether I'm there or not. School's going to be open, right? And so you can't run school without running water, without AC, without plumbing. Those things aren't as attractive as new buildings or new things, right? But there's a lot of work that has to take place behind the scenes, behind the walls. We call it the hidden ugliness, right? Yeah. That's what's below the ground, what's in the walls, what's on the roof. And here's my pitch to my community, being that I'm from this community. If we want great schools, if we want great communities, then you need to invest in students, right? You need to invest in our community, and no matter where you live, you're going to be asked to do that. So why not here at Sunnyside? Yeah,
I mean that's what it comes down to: building a better tomorrow. Invest in what the future looks like, and at the end of the day, like you said, it's only $50.
Absolutely,
the community can get involved in that like no other. And now I want to go back to the plan you put out for this next year. You said something in 3 words: identity, purpose, and urgency. What do those 3 words mean, and why is it so important that we follow those 3 words going out?
Yeah, I mean, part of our graduate profile is for our students to build a strong sense of identity, purpose, and agency, right?
Agency.
And so I love urgency, but it's agency. Yeah. And so, you know, it's really pushing our kids to reach their potential, right? Yeah. I mean, it's success is defined differently for every student, you know, and so we have some amazing programs in Sunnyside at our high schools, our middle schools. In our high schools, there's a lot of dual enrollment opportunities for students to earn college credit, taking courses. We have CTE, College and Career Academy, CTE courses where they can earn industry certifications. You know, our vision is for each student to graduate college, career, community ready. You know, a lot of our students come back and serve in the community. You come back to us as teachers, as employees.
So that I want to go into that because that's such a big one too. Like I've learned this from my dad. You always want to teach kids to come back and help out the community. Don't leave and go somewhere else. Come back.
Absolutely.
As a superintendent, how are you coaching your teachers, your principals to send that message to the students that are achieving high levels of greatness?
Yeah. Well, as I said, that's our vision and our mission. Excuse my language, but I mean, everywhere you go, every district you go to, they have these sexy posters about being, this is our vision, this is our mission. I always ask myself, are you living it, right?
Yeah.
Are you providing that experience, or is it just a sexy poster on the wall, right? And so we really pride ourselves and we want our kids to own their learning. So when we talk about identity, they have to have an identity as learners. Are they able to take a learner stance, right? And is learning more important than to them? Because I think for years, kids have been chasing grades, right? Where they've been real good at compliance. Like, you go in, you do the work, you behave. The question is, are you learning?
Yeah.
Right. And so
There's so many things around that you can kind of cheat it out now too.
Yeah. And so it's this piece of learning versus compliance, right? And so we haven't perfected it, but we're working really hard to make sure that our students advocate for themselves, that they provide evidence of learning, and that we really prepare them for what's next, whatever they decide to do. And so when we talk about developing a stronger sense of identity, purpose, and agency for our students, we want them to be able to achieve what they want in life.
Yeah. Hey, get ready for the better tomorrow. Get ready to go to college, get ready to have a great job afterwards, and come back and help out Sunnyside School District.
Absolutely. I think you can never forget those who helped shape your life, right? And those that gave you opportunities. And I always make it a point to say it when I do public speaking is to say that, gosh, I get to serve a community who served me for so many years, and provided me opportunities. My teachers, when I think about, I remember my elementary teachers, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Lopez. Miss Buruel was my second grade teacher. She's now Miss Armijo, or has been Miss Armijo for a long time, but at the time was Miss Buruel. I had the Jimmy Heinz, who was my writing teacher, and Mr. Eddie in middle school, Mr. Durazo, and just so many, so many people that just believed in you, right? Yeah. When sometimes you didn't believe in yourself. And so they made you feel special, and they made you feel that you could accomplish special things. And so, just kind of going back to my story of, like, I thought I was going to be a construction worker like my dad when I graduated from high school until, the day, Coach Werblow at Pima College, he came and did a visit at my house and offered me a scholarship. I never forget the look on my mom's face, and when he says, well, here's the letter of intent, you're going to sign with us. And me, being cocky, I was like, well, I don't know. I got other offers. And my mom kind of gave me that look like, you're going to sign this.
You're going.
You're going to stay home and you're going to sign this. And so we did. And so that became a reality pretty quick, where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to be going to college.
Let me ask you this. Out of your family, how many people followed you afterwards?
I love where you're going with this question, because I've always told my students that are first generation high school grads and first generation college grads or first generation college going, I tell them, you guys are our trailblazers, because what follows is your siblings, your younger cousins, your younger brother and sisters. And so, when I completed college, my younger sister went to college and completed college, became a teacher. My niece, she's an assistant principal right now in the district and completed college. And so we've had several college graduates, after that. So you create these trends in your family. So now going back to that piece of expectations, now it's an expectation to finish college, and so, and we also know college isn't for everybody, right? I mean, but as long as they're being successful at what they do.
Yeah. Having a purpose on what they're doing every day.
Having an impact, exactly.
You talk about the standard. What do you want the Sunnyside School District standard to be in 5 years?
Yeah, I think a lot about this Proposition 416. It's a big deal for us. It's a mail-in ballot. It's this November. We're asking the voters to support this. And we just developed a 5-year strategic plan, with our constituents, which included parents, community members, students, employees, leadership, board members. And so, we're trying to create this vision for Sunnyside. And the vision, the values of the vision are definitely learning, it's empowerment, and it's community, right? And we know how valuable that is to us. And then we have 4 pillars that talk about learning agency, and it covers this piece of community. It covers the well-being of students. And so, we want to make sure in Sunnyside that people feel valued, that people feel that, they can go there. Not only is it a good place to work, but it's a great place for families and students to come. And we have a lot of stories, a lot of successful Sunnyside graduates out there. I mean, the stories aren't told enough of what kids are doing.
That's why we got something like this, man.
Absolutely.
Bring the that's one thing me and Bobby always talk about. Bring the community in.
Yeah.
That way it can inspire someone going through the same thing.
Absolutely. And I love that, Bobby Rodriguez and José Felix, run JET. They keep that vision alive for people, right? And I love that, they're here in the community. They can probably open up shop somewhere else in the north side, east side, west side, and who knows, they may do that down the road, but they don't forget where they come from, and they have their stories as well. And so you have these amazing, kids that are doing amazing things, not only student athletes, but students as well. I mean, there's a lot of student athlete stories out there, right? I mean, I love seeing the RBY stories,
He has his own documentary.
Absolutely.
Olympics in Mexico. With Team Mexico, man.
Yeah. I mean, just national champ. Went to Penn State, Southside kid at Penn State, right? University. You have Audrey Jimenez, who's at Lehigh University, and
future Olympian right there.
Yeah, she's future Olympian, and I think is the current. I believe she won the Open Championship again.
Yep.
And so she's and humble. And what they don't. But sometimes these students don't get enough credit, or student athletes don't get enough credit for their academics. And Audrey was a 4.0 kid. I mean, she was a straight A student. Sergio Vega, who's on his way to Oklahoma State University to wrestle. I mean, another top-notch student. And comes from great family, and so there's a lot of stories like that. But there's also a lot of alumni who've gone on to do some great things. And that's the standard at Sunnyside. The standard at Sunnyside is that we can compete and we can do better than anyone else. And so that's what I want our students to leave with, is that there is opportunities out there. I want them to know that they have to work hard for them and make good decisions. But there's no limit, man. I mean, it's you're going to get out of it what you put into it, right? Like Coach Sanchez says.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you being on. I know it's busy being the second day of school. One final question. This one might get you in trouble.
All right.
What's your favorite taco place down in South Tucson?
Oh my God.
I know mine. Mine. It's Taco Apson.
Oh man, I think you read my mind, man. So, gosh, that's such a tough decision. But and you probably said that because you look at me all gordito, and
I said that because I was
like, said, man, what tacos? I don't think there's a taco I don't like, man.
Well, but the reason why I say that, me and my uncle Craig, we used to always do this, especially during the pandemic. We just go down that line trying them out. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that's what it's one of the best things about that. You have the best Mexican food in the country.
Yeah, we do, and that's why the choices are so hard. But I have to agree with you. When you asked me the question, that's the first thing that came to my mind was tacos Apson. But I'm also a frijolero, man. I love their frijoles there.
Yeah.
And but they and the neat thing is that there's going to be somebody on the horizon here. The next taco place is going to come up and it's going to hit again. But I'm a faithful tacos Apson guy. I really am.
Dude, I would go there for the Haas burrito, Haas taco. Oh my God, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Some green chili, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it works out too because my sister's at New Mexico University. She used to do cheerleading there, now just doing school. So my dad used to always bring green chili back and try to make them, but it was nowhere close to that.
Not the same, huh?
Not the same, man.
Not the same.
So I appreciate you being on. Good luck the whole school year. We'll reach back out once a midway or probably at the end of the year to see how everything went. It's people like you that's helping this grow, man. You give us time to just spread your word out there and what the plan is to community. When's voting day again?
I believe that is November 4th. I know it's that week of November 4th. Again, it's a mail-in ballot. So get your ballots in. The important thing is that people understand, what we're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
Understand the message, and more importantly, that just people vote, right?
Yeah.
It's a choice. You have a choice. You can vote to support or not to support. But I think at the end of the day, we're just trying to do right by students. We're trying to do right by our community and provide more opportunities. And so, I encourage people to vote. And hopefully in November, we're having this conversation and celebrating that we were successful.
Yeah. Hey, get out and vote, guys. Like Mr. Gastélum said, invest in the community for a better tomorrow. There's no way it doesn't work out with this. Please go in, vote November 4th. Thank you for being on, brother.
All right. Appreciate it.
Peace. See you guys in the
Thank
next
you.
one.
Bye-bye.